Hello and welcome to All About You with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about. I am your host, OMG, along with my co-host,
Silky Smooth
and Daydream.
Your wellness warrior, Susan Nash.
Okay, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. We ask that you please join in on the conversation, where your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions help drive the conversation. Today our topic is, I never knew that. You know, the onset of the holidays can evoke many different emotions for many, such as depression, anxiety, and a lot of stress due to shopping, traffic, no places to park, overspending, and just plain living up to the financial obligations of Christmas. So today we opted to keep the show lighthearted and tell you where some of the sayings come from that we use in everyday conversations without ever thinking of its origin. Trivia can and always will be great conversation starters, great interjectors, as well as fun tidbits and nuggets of information. Next time you hear someone say something, you know they have no idea where it originated. Well, heck, educate them. Well, we're about to share with you some of the most famous and most repeated sayings, and a few that you may or may not hear of often, but just for the heck of it, it does open up the opportunity to initiate conversation. Let's tell you a few things that you did not know. Okay.
Let's. I'm dying to hear. I want to hear what I didn't know, because I know all. I know everything. I know all things. I know all things.
We have these sayings that, that'll just come out of nowhere that we've heard our family and ancestors say and grandparents and stuff say, and you just assume that it is what it is. One of the things I'll start out with is that there's a saying called piss poor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I've heard of that.
They used to use urine to tan animal skins, so families used to all pee in a pot. And then once it was full, it was taken and sold to the tannery. And if you had to do this to survive, you were known as piss poor.
Oh, wow.
But worse than that were the really poor people who couldn't even afford to buy a pot. They didn't have a pot to piss in, and were the lowest of the low with no window to throw it out of. You see, you didn't have no idea.
I know. All right, that one I didn't know, but I know the rest of them. Okay. You got that one by me, OMG.
Okay.
Because that has a dual.
Okay,
that has a dual. First you're poor, and then you're so poor that you don't have the pot, and you don't have the window to throw it out of. Okay.
And also, most people got married. Back in the 1500s, most people got married in June because they took their yearly bath in May. And they still smell pretty good by June. So, however, since they were starting to smell, brides carried a bouquet of flowers to hide the body odor. That's why to this day brides carry a bouquet.
See, now I'm gonna look at brides differently. Thanks to you.
I'm just telling you. She may not even know why she's carrying it.
Right. Flowers must have been extra potent back then, though. The fragrance, it had to have been, if you're gonna use flowers, okay, because think about it.
They use that.
Certain flowers are more fragrant than others. Maybe they use the ones that were the most fragrant.
Well, if you didn't take a bath once a year, maybe
everybody smell. And maybe
so now you just smell like funky flowers. I mean, kind of like the air fresheners for the restroom. It's just like, okay, you're not opening. Now just makes it funky.
I know, right? But that's how the little extra
rose on top.
But it also helped the place, right, where they were getting married. The flowers, because if you're saying. It's not just the bride, it's everybody.
I don't know, I just spoke of the bride. So once the bride carries it, then naturally everybody else follows suit because it's her day. She sets the tone. So I guess that's when bridesmaids carry flowers as well. But initially, a June wedding required being set in June so that you had your bath by May. And you wouldn't be smelling too far. And you had a bouquet of flowers to kind of...
Okay, so everybody else.
I would have just scheduled my wedding to be like, okay, the same week that I took my bath.
Right. I don't think anybody would. I don't even know if they had bridesmaids back then. They just ran off and got married. So it was just the bride and the groom.
Right.
All this other stuff is
so then what's the point of the other?
I would like to know, when did all the pomp and circumstance come in? Because that's the bridesmaids and all that.
See, that's
when they realize what big business
that is. Religion it has a lot to do with legalistic terms that the construct in which we live. It's always about money. That's what I'm going to say. It's about the construct in which we live. And if the bride has to do this and you have to honor her, then everybody has to follow suit. So you have to have everything she's got. Right. And so, again, it's about money. It always is. Okay, baths consist of a big tub filled with hot water. The man of the house had the privilege of the nice, clean water. Then all the other sons and men, then the women, and finally the children. Last of all, the babies. By then, the water was so dirty you could actually lose someone in it. Hence the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Because you don't see him in the water because it's so dirty.
Right.
So when you go to throw the water out, you
Don't
could throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Just gives you ideas.
I know about this.
Oh, gee. All right, okay, I didn't know that.
So y'all have, you want to bring up one? Bring up one?
Goodness.
There are lots
I'll
of
do one. I have salt of the earth.
Okay.
It's a biblical phase. It comes from Matthew 5:13 when Jesus told his followers, "You are the salt of the earth."
Okay. We do use that.
Interesting.
I use that.
Okay. How about go to pot? Any farm animal that had outlived its usefulness, such as a hen that no longer laid eggs, would literally go to pot. It was cooked and eaten.
See, I never really heard it. That doesn't sound familiar. Go to pot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, geographical. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier before we got on here.
Geographical locations, how things are a little bit different.
Now, I have one. I think I knew this one, though. The baker's dozen.
Uh-huh.
It is said to come from the days when the bakers were severely punished for baking overweight loaves. Some added a loaf to a batch of a dozen to be above suspicion. So instead of a dozen to be 12, the baker's dozen is 13. So
Did you know that?
you get
Did you know
into
that? The
trouble.
baker's dozen?
I didn't know why, though.
Yeah,
I didn't know why. Yeah, I've heard of a
Baker's
baker. Yeah, when
dozen,
they said,
that's
"I want a dozen," you want a dozen, you want a baker's dozen. Always go for the baker's dozen. Get
That's
it.
what
Yeah.
it flies.
Okay.
So you got an extra one. Yeah, you got extra.
I thought that was the snack. Get a baker's dozen of cookies.
Or the donut hole. You got an extra donut hole or extra
Exactly.
jelly donut
Okay,
or
so
something.
I'm gonna give you another one. Houses had thatched roofs, thick straw piled high with no wood underneath. It was the only space for animals to get warm, so all the cats and other small animals, mice and bugs, lived in the roof. When it rained, it became particularly slippery, and sometimes the animals would slip and fall off the roof. Hence the saying, it's raining cats and dogs.
Oh no!
Makes
I
total
get it.
sense.
I get it now.
It's raining cat. You've heard this for years. You probably figured out what the heck.
Yeah, it's like, I don't get it.
I know,
Okay.
and I say
You
that
just go
one
with
too.
it.
I say that one with regularity.
It's raining cats and dogs. Well, now you know where it comes
I say it
from.
like that. It's raining cats and dogs.
And so also there was nothing to stop things from falling into the house. This posed a real problem in the bedroom where bugs and other droppings could mess up your nice clean bed. Hence a bed with big post and a sheet hung over the top, affording some protection. That's how the canopy bed came about.
Wait a minute, to prevent animal droppings
From the roof,
Yeah.
remember I said they had mice and they had bugs. So
Yeah.
what people would do is they built big posts and threw a sheet. You know,
Right,
a
and now
canopy
it's
is
like, right, and now it's like a
I
luxury.
thought it was for mosquitoes. Like,
Well,
you
you
know,
had- it
that's
is-
what I thought
I mean,
it originated from.
yeah,
you know, it was
no.
like
I
a
think
mosquito net.
when you have the sides down, that prevents from the mosquitoes.
Well, I don't know. They
Yeah,
say
because
that,
it's
well,
like it's called a mosquito net.
but either way, a canopy goes over.
Yeah, the
So I'm
canopy is
assuming
over.
that would it may even be the same thing as far as the mosquito net, just more up
But
and
I've
down.
seen it with the
Right.
drapings
But
on
the
the
whole thing is to
side.
keep bugs and mice out. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah, now it's just because, you know, it's pretty.
I know. Right?
And because it costs extra. So.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one more. I'll let you guys have some. Okay, the floor was dirt. Only the wealthy had something other than dirt. Hence the saying, dirt poor. Dirt poor.
Oh my goodness.
I can't
And
take
there it
it.
is.
I mean,
When you say it now, it makes
but
total
now
sense.
I'm trying to make some of the things that we say in conversation make sense. And so again, when you hear someone say it, they have no clue where it originates, where it came from.
You know,
And see, I'm a trivia person. I think smart people know smart things, and I know all those as well.
Right.
But I think an extra person does trivia because it's kind of it's a small, like I said earlier, it's a small nugget of information that the average person won't know or have. So you will catch people's attention when you start to say something because, like, oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right.
So it's kind of an attention getter, and it also initiates conversation. What
I
were you
got a
gonna say?
good one that's funny. I like the big wig.
Oh yeah,
The
right.
big wig. During the 18th century, when many men wore wigs, the most important men wore the biggest wigs.
That's right.
Hence, today, important people are called big wigs.
That's right.
And you hear people say that,
And they have
they're the big wigs.
Yeah, they have no clue why they say
Right.
it. They just
Right.
say it.
They're the big wigs. And I
So
love
now
to say
you
that
get
one
some
too.
signals.
That's a whole nother
Right,
thing.
well now you don't even hear big wig as much anymore, but I get Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now it's just, well, they're above my pay grade. They are above my pay grade, so.
Absolutely. You were talking about too giving somebody the cold shoulder. Okay. When an unwanted visitor came, you gave them cold shoulder of mutton instead of hot meat as a hint that they were not to call again.
So that's the cold shoulder.
Oh.
It's actually a cold shoulder of mutton, of sheep.
The shoulder.
The shoulder
is
of
called,
it, yeah. So if otherwise they wanted you to stay, they'd give you warm meat. They give you
a good part.
They give you a good part. Yeah.
Don't want you to feel at home.
They don't want you. That's right. Don't get too comfy. The cold shoulders on down. So.
Oh no!
Isn't that amazing how we just now and it gives.
So if I don't want someone to come back, I don't
cold
fancy mutton.
You can,
but I would just give them a cold piece of chicken, or a cold piece of liver,
fried up all nice, fried cold.
Cold.
Some people might like it. I don't know.
Hey, I like cold fried chicken.
So she would come back.
I still come back and be like, oh, thank you, girl. Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it. I love that cold chicken, sir. Did you get the cold shoulder?
That's my favorite.
When you were talking about dirt poor, what I was about to say was, in Mexico, my great grandparents, they had dirt floor, and that's how their house was. And I remember my great grandmother would always like sweeping the floor, and I'm like, why is it dirt? I mean, but it was packed down, so yeah, it's like, and my mom would say that she goes, well, just because they're dirt poor. So
there it is. Yeah, all these things have kind of transposed through the generations.
Interesting.
As I mentioned earlier about being dirt poor, as the winters wore on, they added more. Back up. I'm sorry. The wealthy had slate floors. They would get slippery in the winter when they were wet, so they would spread thresh, which is straw, on the floor to help keep their footing. As the winter wore on, they added more thresh until when you opened the door, it would all start slipping outside. A piece of wood was placed in the entranceway, hence threshold.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know where you were going.
I
couldn't think of what saying is. Nothing came to my mind. Nothing. So okay, that's another one I didn't
every
know.
Every door has a threshold.
Yes.
Right.
And we also use threshold metaphorically,
Your threshold
crossing the threshold,
Okay, so anybody else have something?
I have one, show a leg. It comes from the days when women were allowed on board ships. When it was time for sailors to get out of their hammocks, women would show a leg to prove they were females and not members of the crew.
Well, that would be a problem around about now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. I've seen many a pretty leg on a man.
That's what I'm just saying.
Making the ankles better than we do sometimes.
When I saw that, I was like, that's not
You're
right.
gonna have to show a little more this time. A leg and putting ellipsis there. Yeah, show a little extra.
Okay, in those old days, they cooked in the kitchen with a big kettle pot that always hung over the fire. Every day they lit the fire and added things to the pot. They ate mostly vegetables and did not get much meat. They would eat the stew for dinner, leaving leftovers in the pot to get cold overnight and then start over the next day. Sometimes stew had food in it that had been there for quite a while. Hence the rhyme, peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot, 9 days old.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my! Okay, that was.
I always thought it was just a rhyme.
Me too.
No,
Me too.
See, now you know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's why we call the show. I didn't know that. Yeah, so that's where that rhyme came from.
Gotcha. I got one about honeymoon.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Honeymoon is derived from honey month. It was an old tradition that newlyweds drank mead, which is made from honey, for a month after the wedding.
Wow.
Okay.
Mead made
What
from
would they
honey. They drank mead for a month.
Mead.
After the one. After
M-E-A-D.
It's
That was
it's
the
something
honeymoon.
that's made with honey.
Oh, and it's called mead.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still
M-E-A-D.
mead like at the Texas Renaissance Festival. And
Really?
So you can, they have mead.
Have you
What
had
is it?
I have. It's
Okay.
like a wine. It tastes like wine. It's just sweet.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Sweet,
I'm sorry.
sweet wine.
I would have never known.
Yeah,
that.
So what they're
See,
saying is you're going
I'm
to
on
be drunk
lean
for
over
a
here.
month,
a month
after
okay.
your wedding.
Just lean over.
Go ahead. Like you know.
I have one. Show your true colors. Pirate ships would approach their intended victim, showing a false flag to lure them into a false sense of security. When it was too late for the victim to escape, they would show their true colors. The Jolly Roger.
Wow.
Yeah. See, and it makes that does make sense.
Well, you know,
Think about it. We were talking earlier before we came on air about you know, you never really know someone.
No.
You know, you got to wait for someone to show their true colors, and it's like, okay, that's where.
Hey.
And it is true because we come with our representative at all
Our
times.
representative comes, and then after within 90 days or so,
Yeah,
usually they will show you who they are. And team, on that note, we'll take a
I
break
have
and be
one
right
for
back.
us.
We'll come back.
You are listening to The Bridge. Share your opinion by calling 713-789-2096. Stay tuned.
Do you need to scoot your chair around?
That's why I needed your email address.
That's all right. We just do Tina Marie.
Want me to give you the name of the songs?
That's a good one.
Give you the
Can you
name
give
of the
me one?
songs?
Let's see if I can put it up.
Okay. It is. Oh, great. Now I gotta pull it right back. Here it is. I never knew love like this before. Stephanie Mills.
I put something with Miller in it. Ligon.
Oh,
I think Ligon.
It's my ex-sister. That's it.
Got it?
Trying to find it. Commercial still playing?
It's
Yeah,
music.
Tina's still playing.
Oh, it's Tina playing? I had to play her on the next one.
Yeah, Tina's still playing.
I'll get ready to come back on. I have to play her on the next one.
Okay, we just already come back.
Sure.
And we are back. You're listening to All About You with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about. I am your host, OMG, along with my co-host.
Silky Smooth.
Daydream.
Your wellness warrior, Susan.
And I am OMG, as you very well know. We were teaching you and telling you some things that you probably didn't know. They're old sayings that we use in mostly everyday conversations, but not sure where they came from. They've either just been passed down verbally or just we've heard ancestors, grandparents, great-grandparents say something. We just throw it out there, not ever thinking about
We
where
don't
it
know the
originated.
basis, the foundation.
Yeah, there is a foundation for all of it, no matter how crazy it sounds.
I have one.
Okay.
That's from the
I'm sorry.
Bible. This is scripture-based, folks, so listen up on this one. Okay, listen up. In the book of Matthew 15, chapter 15, the 14th verse, Jesus criticized the Pharisees, and these were the religious authorities of his day, saying, "They be blind leaders of the blind, thus the blind leading the blind." Now, I've read that passage in
I never
scripture
knew where
and
it
never
came
made the
from.
connection. I didn't realize that the blind leading the blind came from that, but that's where it came from.
I like from
Even
the
Christ
Bible.
was involved.
I know, right? One of my famous is "Mind your business." I think that's one of the most apropos statements is one of them in the Bible because people mind everybody else's business, you
Right.
know? And see, I don't really care about what other people are doing. I'm kind of like that thoroughbred horse. I wear blinders. I run my own race. I don't care what the horse is doing next to me, the horse on the side of me.
I'm focusing on
running
my
race.
own horse.
So I wear my blinders, so. But anyway, guys, okay, when visitors, okay, let me get this back here. Okay, peas part, Hodge peas parts go with it at 9 days old. Sometimes they could obtain pork, which made them feel quite special. This is regarding the peas parts part. When visitors came by, they would hang up the bacon to show off. It was a sign of wealth that a man could bring home the bacon. They would cut off a little to share with guests and would all sit around and chew the fat.
That is the best part.
Yeah, right. So that's where that kind of came in. It basically just bring home the bacon.
Bring home the bacon.
And-
See,
and-
you get
and-
these twofold. You get these duels.
I know, right?
Bringing home the bacon and chewing the fat.
And chewing the fat.
Right.
So again, it served a purpose.
And chew the
Those-
fat is the camaraderie, the conversation, the dialogue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now those with money had plates made of pewter. Food with high acid content caused some of the lead to leach into the food, causing lead poisoning death. Now, this happened most often with tomatoes. So for the next 400 years or so, tomatoes were considered poisonous. That's just a tidbit of information.
Wow.
I don't know how they came back into being edible again, but
Someone realized it was the plates.
It was
Because they may have
somebody was-
inadvertently
yeah.
served them on another
Right.
plate and nothing happened to
right.
anyone.
But for 400 years, tomatoes were considered
That's a
poisonous.
long time.
That's almost
That's-
another slavery.
Exactly. Right.
Really. And bread was divided according to your status. So if you broke bread, you normally break bread with the person of the highest level.
So I get that crumb that kind of
Let me
dropped
tell you
off the
that
bread.
workers, okay, bread was divided according to status. Workers got the burnt bottom of the bread. The family got the middle, and the guests got the top, or the upper crust.
Oh.
Oh my.
We've all heard of the upper
The
crust.
upper
Sure have.
So I thought upper crust was, for like snooty people.
That's what it means.
That's right.
That's
That's right. When they were like, oh,
That's-
they're upper crust.
Well, that's
you
where
know,
it's come
like,
from.
The
but-
meaning changed probably.
Yeah, they probably
Yeah.
yeah, but
it
that's
did.
where it come from because the guests were at the top, so they got they
Right.
were called the upper crust. So it is, and so now it's
Mhm.
used as bourgeois and that
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Hey, thank you, Hattie Ligon, for checking in with us. Thank you for listening
Something
to
always
all.
got to be extra. It's Ligon.
Ligon. It's not.
Ligon.
Gone.
It's not
Where you
Ligon.
at?
We're
What accent
Creole.
are- where-
I don't
This
see
is
it.
America.
no,
Ma'am,
see when you
I'm
don't.
sorry. I want now that I've been
No.
studying
Okay.
Spanish, I want everyone
Someone
to be
graduated this
Spanish.
weekend, and now all of a sudden,
I know,
all of a
we're,
sudden
you know.
it's Ligon.
Yeah, well, it's like my name. My name is actually Gafe, and it does have an accent de geek over the e,
Uh-huh.
but
You don't want to say
No.
Gafe?
people mess your name up, so it's hard enough for them to say Gab. They call me Gabe, and I get all these other names other than Gab.
See, so just do what I do. When people always call me by the wrong name, but they always want to change the ending of my
That's
name to
right.
be Line, and it's not. It's Lynn. So I always correct them when they address me. Oh, hey, and they use my real name. I'm like, no, it's this and that. But yes,
Yeah,
and I just continue to correct people. They'll get it.
Oh, they call you Caroline.
Yeah.
And it's Carolyn.
Correct.
Oh, they say Susan.
So when they're like, oh, Caroline, I'm like Carolyn.
yeah.
And
And
then
there's a
we'll
big
continue.
difference between Jeanette and Jeanette. Well,
Jeanette.
Yeah.
Jeanette.
Well, you know one name I do like that's French, and that is Geneviève,
Ooh.
which basically is Genevieve.
Oh, Jean.
Oh, did y'all know that?
See,
Jean-Vive.
it's got to be
See,
extra.
I-
See, I love it.
Y'all see what it's like around here? It always has to be extra.
Genevieve is horrible. I tried to
Genevieve.
It's like those people who pronounce
just,
Target, Target.
I
It's like,
know.
come on
Well,
now.
that's just,
I
yeah.
thought you
Get
said
with
it for a
it.
joke.
But really,
I thought that was a joke.
okay, something else. Okay, lead cups were used to drink ale or whiskey. The combination would sometimes knock the inviters out for a couple of days.
What?
Someone walking along the road would take them for dead and prepare them for burial. They were laid out on the kitchen table for a couple of days, and the family would gather around and eat and drink and wait to see if they would wake up. Hence, holding awake.
That's with the weight. That's where
So
that
that
comes
person
from.
in that coffin could jump out of that coffin at any
that's,
given
that's the
moment.
next part. Okay, England is old and small, and the local folks started running out of places to bury people. So they would dig up coffins and would take the bones to a bone house and reuse the grave. When reopening these coffins, 1 out of 25 coffins were found to have scratched marks on the inside, and they realized, oh my gosh, we've been burying people alive. So they would tie a string on the wrist of the corpse, lead it through the coffin, and up through the ground and tie it to a bell. Someone would have to sit out in the graveyard all night, the graveyard shift,
Oh.
to listen for the bell. Thus, someone could be saved by the bell or was considered a dead ringer.
Ah, look at all that.
Okay?
I love that.
Graveyard shift. I mean,
But you know what? That really happened though. My dad had an uncle, so I guess it'd be like a great uncle or
Uh-huh.
great great uncle. He had passed away. This is in Mexico, and they do that. They reuse the same grave sites. So like my popo, he's actually buried with his mother who passed away 50 something years ago. But so he's buried with her. And well, anyway, one of the uncles somewhere down the line, he had passed away, and they didn't realize he had some important paperwork in his pocket, because that, this was before embalming and all that good stuff. It was, like you said, you just buried them and that was it.
Yeah.
They actually had to reopen the grave and dig him back up because they needed that paperwork. And when they did that,
serious?
when they did that, they realized when they opened up the coffin, he was actually face down. So they buried him alive. And the same thing, there was marks
Scratch
on
marks
the inside, and for him to have been face down, that's because he was trying to get up and get out. So yeah,
That's
so
gotta be a
that's
horrible way to go.
absolutely, think about it.
Yeah, but that's where all this, that's the graveyard shift. That's where it came from, watching to see if somebody
to listen for the
Oh,
bill.
yeah.
So,
Wait.
to go.
Oh my God! Speaking of upper crust, I'm kind of into that one. Blue bloods means aristocratic. For centuries, the Arabs occupied Spain, but they were gradually forced out during the Middle Ages. The upper class in Spain had paler skin, and most of the population, as their ancestors, had not intermarried with the Arabs. As they had pale skin, the blue blood running through their veins was more visible. So, blue blood came to mean upper class.
Absolutely.
So if your skin was lighter, you could see
Very
because your veins
fair,
are
you're
blue.
very
You could
fair.
see the blue, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why you were considered.
That's right, because those with money, they didn't do field work
And
things
they
like
did
that.
not interbreed. They only interbreed. They only stayed with their own. They
Very
didn't-
incestuous.
They didn't go outside of their
Right.
culture because they wanted to keep the aristocratic posture.
Bloodline. Well, isn't that
Yeah.
why, like King Tut and them, they had a lot of deformities and everything because
Yeah.
it was just
They were
Instant.
interbreeding.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, that happens in
Yeah.
Louisiana. Hell.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, with my
be
cousin
far.
and
I mean,
things
that
like that.
happens. You know,
Thank you.
I some of my ex-in-laws that were from Louisiana, they were married to first cousins and stuff.
Yeah, and they like each other. I mean, they really
But see,
go
to
and be
me,
with each other.
what I
That's so
found
weird.
that to be, you see, when I got here, there was something called a brown paper bag test. Here's something else that's geographically located. You know, if you were darker than a brown paper bag,
Uh-oh.
then you were too dark.
I've never
You
heard
guys
of
have
that.
never heard of that? You ever heard of
Yeah.
that? You never heard of the brown paper bag?
No.
Oh my gosh! Well, it was done to me years ago. Yeah, I was darker than the bag, so that became an issue for me and the doctor, but for all those involved.
Who cared about it?
Mhm. Who cared about
So
it?
what did I do? Say, come here for a second and held the bag up to you.
Yeah, the family did that. Right, they're from Louisiana.
Seriously.
Absolutely. Oh, you have.
Because I'd heard about it, but I have never
You
met
have?
anyone
Hadn't heard
who's
about it?
actually had it happen
Well,
to
you've
them.
heard about it.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
They,
yeah.
they did that.
Never heard of that.
You don't even. And you're right here.
But I don't know anyone that was actually subject to something like that. I
Well,
thought
now
it
you
was
do.
a
It's just,
joke.
it's
Now you
just
do.
family. When you get together, you get a couple drinks. Let's pull out the bag. What bag? I'm drinking. What bag? Oh, this is gonna give you a test.
Uh-oh.
You know, so it was.
So
very,
could you get kicked out of the family?
No. It
Oh,
was
you just
it-
told to
but
sit in a
they
different
just had issues between dark and light.
Yeah.
Very simple. So to people here, you know, I was considered dark. I'm not that dark.
No.
Right.
But here, in compared marrying into that family, I was considered dark. So they wanted to make sure that I knew
Right,
that I was
right.
considered dark. So the
They
paper
beneath
bag
them.
was to let me know.
to let you know.
Oh yeah,
Just in case
Ah,
you think
this
just in case
is
you
funny.
think
Oh, what you-
just so you know,
Just in
we
case
know
you
that you
think-
know you're brown, right?
Right.
Okay.
Just in case you think.
Lord. If you're black, you're black. If you're brown, stick around. If you're light, you're all right.
That's it. See,
Even our engineer.
Even our engineer knows. There's a lot of sayings, like I said, that we don't really pay attention to, but they're real. And like I said, right here in Louisiana, and
That's
Okay.
crazy.
there was no time to administer anesthesia before emergency surgery during battle. The surgeon made patients bite down on a bullet in an attempt to distract them from the pain. Anybody
Right,
know
the
what that is?
Bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet.
Good Lord.
For real.
And it really just means you need to endure when you bite the bullet,
Yeah,
right?
bite the bullet is just
So,
whole, yeah, they have
yeah, you
different
need to hold
meanings
on
now.
and endure.
Now it just
And
means-
so, yeah.
That's
Oh, my.
something else.
Well, I knew they stuck that piece of
You
leather
see-
in your mouth.
Yeah, you've seen that.
They would do
Some
that,
of the
or
Christian
even for
westerns.
those, you know, who suffer from seizures, they would keep a leather with them. So I knew that, but
Yeah.
bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet was literally.
I didn't know.
Oh,
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the thought of
The
them
pain.
amputating somebody's leg and you're biting
You
the
might have,
bullet.
well, you took a nice shot of whiskey.
Yeah, they-
Shot
I was
of
just gonna
whiskey,
say,
and a bottle.
We got one for a shot of whiskey too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm dying to hear that one.
In the Old West, a 45 cartridge for a 6-gun cost 12 cents, and so did a glass of whiskey. If a cowhand was low on cash, he would often give the bartender a cartridge in exchange for a drink. This became known as a shot of whiskey.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
See, when people take shots, they have no clue.
I love that one
I
too.
wonder if there's if anybody else, our listeners, and thank you everyone who's tuning in and watching on our live Facebook feed and following along with us. Give us a call here at the studio, 713-789-0096. And if anybody has some sayings, maybe, you know,
Let us
for
know.
those trivia buffs out there, we'd love to hear from y'all too.
Okay.
That's funny.
I have spick and span.
Okay.
Today, this means neat and tidy, but originally the saying was spick and span new. A span was a wood shaving. If something was newly built, it would have telltale wood chips. So it was span new. Spick is an old word for a nail. New spicks or nails would be shiny. However, words and phrases often change their meanings over centuries, and
Right.
spick and span then came to mean neat and tidy.
That's right, spick and span.
Well, I could see it still makes sense though because
Yeah.
it's brand new,
Mhm.
spick and span, shiny, and that's what you do.
New things.
I need this house spick and span. I need to shine again.
Yeah. So that's
Okay, that makes sense.
Uh-huh. Do you have any idea? Okay. Also, before the days of trains or cars, port cities that thrived on trade suffering during the winter because frozen rivers prevented commercial ships from entering the city. Small ships known as icebreakers would rescue the icebound ships by breaking the ice and creating a path for them to follow. Before any type of business arrangement today, it is now customary to have either icebreakers or break the ice.
Mhm.
That's what it came from.
I've heard that before.
And also, it's an ancient Indian custom involved throwing balls of clarified butter at statues of the gods to seek favor. That's known as to butter someone up.
Wait a minute, they're throwing butter balls
Uh-huh.
at these statues to
And
get favor
to get
because
favor
they
from
believe
God.
they were gods.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
So it's
to
called
get
to
favor.
butter someone up.
So, well,
We need to really butter someone up, but you know, we need to really do
so
this.
now when I'm thinking about buttering somebody up, I gotta throw
Okay.
butter balls.
There are two possible sources for this common short saying. The first refers to the cat o' nine tails, a whip used by the English Navy for flogging, but the whip caused so much pain that the victims were left speechless. The second refers to the practice of cutting out the tongues of liars and blasphemers and feeding them to cats. Hence, the cat got your tongue.
Oh, oh my.
Oh, no,
Look at
that's
Daydream's
horrible.
face like,
I know.
Wow, that's so
So they cut out your tongue.
gruesome.
And
Yeah.
right? Take your cat and say the cat's got your
cat's got your tongue. That's where it came from.
Literally.
Because it was fed.
And I'll tell you another one. Here's another one. This saying originated because of a law. If someone butchered an animal that didn't belong to him, he had to be caught with the animal's blood on his hands to be convicted. Being caught with the freshly cut meat did not make that person guilty. So hence you have the saying,
Caught
Blood.
red-handed.
yeah, I know
Caught
it's caught
red-handed?
red-handed.
Oh, I was thinking blood on your hands.
Yeah, well that was the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, blood
okay.
on your hands or caught red-handed. This is what you mean.
Caught red-handed.
You had to have blood on your hands to be considered
Oh, okay.
guilty.
Okay.
And
So
blood
you
is
could go,
red.
okay, right. So red, yeah, same thing. Red.
Okay, so what if I have one?
Uh-huh.
Born with a spoon in your mouth, a silver spoon in your mouth. Once a child was christened, it was traditional for the godparents to give a silver spoon as a gift, if they could afford it. However, a child born in a rich family did not have to wait. He or she had it all from the start. They were born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
That makes sense.
Well, and you know, I have seen, I don't think I see it much lately, but I really haven't looked up baby stuff. I remember, I remember there being, I thought it was just like, oh, the baby's first spoon. But there's like keepsakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a spoon for baby now. Oh,
Yeah, but it's got to be silver. Not
It's
just
Well,
real
yeah,
silver,
I just
yeah.
thought, okay,
Right.
well, like you bronze their shoes, so I just figured, okay, like their first spoon. That's what I thought it was. I didn't see what was
But
so
usually,
special about
usually
it.
the godparent, in my case, I did it as grandparent.
I wish I'd known that.
Yeah,
I
you
would
know.
have done that for my nieces,
Yeah.
my niece and nephews.
And now you know.
Yeah, because I'm the godmother for my niece,
Right,
so
godmothers
I
and
should have
grandparents,
given her
You
a
should
silver
have gotten
spoon.
her
This is why I give people etiquette books for holidays.
See,
Oh, yeah,
But
see,
there's so
and that's
many
such a nice
school
gift.
me.
Yeah, right.
Learn me something.
See,
Jay-
Daydream would have known and she would have been prepared with this gift.
Yeah.
And now the kid's
Now I
practically
look
in
like a bad
college.
godmother.
Well, she's practically in college and it's too
Yeah,
late.
it's too late now.
She'd be using it for her cereal.
So we're gonna wrap up. I guess we gotta go to break. I was just going to say we should wrap up for a moment. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
Great. Share your opinion by calling 713-789-0096.
Yeah, I might give those. Yeah.
Stay tuned.
So, does anybody who wants to? Okay.
I have to acknowledge
So we're gonna do one more each, and then she has her holiday
Yes.
wellness thing, and then I mean each one of y'all can say your holiday thing. But I guess we're gonna record something. Huh, Evelyn? Are we still recording a holiday greeting? Okay. I wrote something. It may not fit everybody, but I like 9 yards. If you read one more before you.
The whole 9 yards?
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Does that say the same thing? Yeah, it does. 'Cause I have it right here.
Oh,
You see, we'll go the whole 9. Okay, so
oh, okay.
well, we're talking about bringing on the bacon, right? That'll be quick. And there it is. This is how we do this.
That's funny. Funny.
You
Perfect.
gotta get in. Okay. We are back. We're talking about sayings that you've probably never heard of and not fully aware of where they originally started. But I want to run through a few real quick, and then we have our wellness warrior who's going to, end the show and give you some good tips for the Christmas holiday. Ears are burning. It was the ancient Romans who had a strange obsession with burning sensations in various organs. So if your left ear tingled, it meant that evil intent from outside influences were around you. And if your right ear tingled, you're in line for good luck. Third degree, it's a Freemason term. When you have been interrogated, you've been asked questions over and over and over, and you've given me the third degree, that's a Freemason term. Because Masons are in degrees. 33 degrees being the highest.
33 and a third?
33 degrees.
Just 33 degrees. Okay.
And also you have Paint the Town Red, and then I'll be done. Legendary nights of drunkenness where mischievous and vandalism was engaged. So the thugs would paint the town red. They would paint all the doors in the town red. They were drunk, they were tearing up stuff and vandalizing.
I think in High Plains Drifter, was it a Clint Eastwood old Western? Then they have a scene where they painted the town red because they knew their enemies were coming. I think it was the movie High Plains Drifter. Yeah.
I used to like that. That was years ago I saw that.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite Western heroes.
So I guess for the holidays, guys, you can paint the town red, but just be careful. So
Don't get arrested.
everybody's got one before.
Yes.
Who wants to go? I'll go. Spinster. A spinster is an unmarried woman. Originally, a spinster was simply a woman who made her living by spinning wool on a spinning wheel. However, it was so common for single women to support themselves that way by the 18th century that spinster then became synonymous for a middle-aged unmarried
Oh
woman.
my
With no
gosh.
children, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
they call you a
makes me
spinster.
that makes me a spinster.
Well, a lot of young people now don't want children.
never spun other than a bike.
Call you a spinster.
Yeah.
And that's ugly. I've heard people say
I know,
that.
I heard too. Yeah, I used it. Right. Because,
Oh, shame.
a man is a bachelor and a woman's a spinster.
Spinster,
right.
that's terrible. How about crocodile tears? We've heard of crocodile tears.
Right.
And they are an insincere display of grief or sadness. It comes from the old belief that a crocodile wept insincerely if it killed and ate a man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
What?
Crocodile
They claim that when a
tears.
crocodile killed and ate a man, that he would cry insincerely, of course, but just feel grief-ridden because he ate this man, so he would have crocodile tears.
Yes, crocodile
It
tears.
was tasty, but I have
I know,
regret.
right?
Which means fake.
But I am full. He said, I am full.
Right.
All right.
All right, I got one here. American fighter planes in World War II had machine guns that were fed by a belt of cartridges. The average plane held belts that were 27 feet, 9 yards long. If the pilot used up all his ammo, he was said to have given it the whole 9 yards. I got you.
Whole 9 yards. You ever heard that?
Yeah, I believe I
heard the
have.
whole 9 yards. I
Yeah.
didn't know that's where it came from.
Okay, so we're going to have our wellness warrior give you some tips on the way out because we want you to not overeat, and I think we gave you some little hints in Thanksgiving as well. So we
Just
wanna
before
keep you
that,
fed.
I want to thank Sharita Huey for watching, checking in with us. Thank you,
Hey.
Sharita.
Thank you.
She's the reason I live in Houston.
Okay. well,
She
thank
talked
you
me
for that.
into it.
Okay. Well, thank you
She
for
talked
that.
me into it. So she's the reason. So thank you, Sharita, for checking in with us.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Okay, Wellness Warrior.
Alrighty. New Year's resolutions. Because, you know,
Yeah,
it's
we're
already
gonna do the
upon
same
us.
thing. Yeah,
Same
we make the
thing,
same ones year
different
after
year.
Right.
So, and I'm sure all of us know what the number one resolution
I'm gonna
is.
lose weight. Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
yes, that is actually it. Actually, the top three. The third one is better financial decisions.
Yeah.
The second one is life self-improvement, and the first one is lose weight, healthier eating. But
Yeah,
here,
we
here's
don't do
see,
Sounds good. But
it
I
sounds
think
good
so
in theory. What is a resolution? A resolution is a firm decision to do or not do something. The action of solving a problem, dispute, or contentious matter. So when we make a resolution, we like to believe,
that we're gonna follow through with that.
right?
That's
we're
our-
gonna-
And we do believe we're
For a
going to
couple
follow
of
Oh,
weeks.
absolutely.
For a couple of
Sincerely.
weeks. Yeah, we're good.
As we drink and say Happy New Year, we
We're good.
believe.
Right, we do.
believe. 12% of the gym memberships have a rise in January. There's a rise in January, but 80% of the
All
New
off
Year's
by-
resolution
Oh,
round,
wow.
By February, you're done.
second week in February. They don't even get to the
So
end
the
of
gym
February.
goes back in the red then.
Absolutely. That's why they sometimes I guess they have to remember
So they
that time.
get fined. They get fined enough just for Valentine's.
So they're getting ready. They're getting revved up now because they know people are going to be overeating for the holidays.
Absolutely.
And then I want to lose weight, and then they're back at the gym and February. And they collect money out of your account.
I was
That's
gonna
been
say.
going for quite some time if you don't pay
Mhm.
attention.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
you've got to write like
March and April, but you're not coming back.
Right.
But the question is, why can we not stick to the resolutions, and why do we make the same ones every year? I got 4 ideas for you, 4 examples of why. The first is that we have a belief that the answer is solely about the exercise. That all we gotta do is exercise.
man, I'm lazy. That's why. That's why I didn't follow through with mine because I'm lazy.
I'll put that in the notes, in the side notes.
Okay,
I'm
right.
feeling lazy.
Yeah, right.
We're saying things like, I'm gonna go to the gym 7 days a week. Or when I go, I'm gonna stay for an hour or 2 hours.
Never happened.
But that's not real. We're setting ourselves up for failure. That's not realistic
it's
for
not
us.
realistic.
No one wants to stay in the gym that long. So what's the answer to that then? The answer is that we have to be realistic about the goals that we have. We can't go from 0 to 60. So we have to determine, okay, what's going to make sense? What's going to be good? We need to seek out information from people, from, go to the internet. There's some great information on the internet.
Absolutely.
But seek places out that are going to give us good information so that when we're setting our goals, we're realistic about those goals and we can ease into them. Number 2, focus on the quantity. We think that if we just focus on the quantity of food we eat, that we don't have to focus on the quality of food we eat.
Oh, we've talked about that.
Oh yeah. And I've heard people tell me things like, I'm only going to drink water for 10 days. I'm going to cleanse my system by just drinking water. How is that going to work? Meanwhile, we're chewing off an arm. That's not going to work. That's not. Or they'll say, I'm never eating fat again. Okay, no.
That's not going to last.
That's not the way to go either. That's not it.
We go
We
extreme.
go extremes.
We go
Yeah.
extreme.
Exactly. Or they'll say, okay, I'm giving up all carbs.
See, you have to set reasonable goals. Like, I'm going to give up 50% of the carbs that I eat now.
Mm-hmm. Or the type of, and the thing is, it's actually the type of carbs that we're eating, or the type of food that we're eating. And there's a saying, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. So no matter how much you try, you may get short-term, something short-term may show you, okay, yeah, that worked.
But people believe that, and they were practicing that. Oh, you can eat whatever you want. And I learned, no.
Food is very important.
Absolutely.
The diet.
And
It's
the
about the
health.
diet.
And the health of it all, too.
Right.
Because even if you're size 4 or size 2 or
You
whatever
still
you are,
have to
you
work
still
out,
have to
and
work
you
out.
still have to eat right.
Right. Thin doesn't necessarily mean healthy.
Right,
A lot of
right.
people misjudge that and think
You
that,
can
oh,
still
they're
have high
thin, they're
cholesterol,
fine.
you can have heart disease,
Everything.
and be thin, and be a diabetic, and be
Absolutely.
fat. So that,
Absolutely. And not to mention, just a couple of things regarding that. Our bodies need fat. Now, it's the type of fat that we are getting. All those French fries and those bacon slabs, that's not going to get it done. But there are types, avocados, coconut oil, things that are good. I could eat my bacon avocados.
I want my day.
And that giant avocado.
I gave her one. I gave her an avocado. Oh, I love avocado.
I do
Ooh.
too. I can just eat them.
This
So
wasn't a Haas. It was some other kind. It was huge.
It was good too. I can say that. But we still need that. It gives you healthy cells. It's healthy for the brain. Our brains need.
So
to
then
have
I could
that-
just go on an all avocado diet this coming year. That's
You
what
let
I'm
me
gonna
know how that works.
Yeah, speaking of guy, that's how I do it.
I'll put my number in your phone. And also in terms of carbs, it's not just that you're eating carbs, it's the kinds of carbs you're eating and the way you're preparing those carbs. Now, at the end of the day, it's better to have the vegetables, the carbohydrates that are vegetables that break down in the way that they need to break down in your system and feed your system the way your system needs to be fed. Instead
Don't just
of
do that nowadays.
oh,
We just
no.
misguided.
And also too in the world of carbs, the reason that we think that certain things are good is because they immediately feed the need for food. When we went through the drive-thru to get those fries when we were starving to death,
Right.
it immediately suppressed our hunger.
It's a comfort food, is it
Oh
not?
yeah.
When you're feeling bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, French fries.
Yes, potatoes.
Oh, I'm a potato
yes,
head.
Me too.
I'm a
Yeah.
love.
Okay. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But you also have to look at when we're talking about trying to out-exercise a bad diet, when you're looking at things like 2 slices of pizza, I won't say the name of the company, okay, you've got to do 65 minutes of moderate cycling if you plan on burning that out.
Oh, that's awful.
But that's okay.
Just 2 slices?
Just 2.
An hour of cardio, I think, is normal.
But if that's not the only thing you're eating.
Okay,
See,
an
that-
hour of cardio and wait. No, that's what I do.
But the thing is, you're not running around like through the course of the day.
3 or 4 days a
eating-
week. All you need is
eating-
3 or 4 days a week.
Right. But technically, if you're eating Little Caesars every day, and the only thing
no.
you're working towards, because see, that's 560 calories.
But see, you know what? When you exercise, I find that I don't have a desire for those types of foods, even if they're in the
Well, the
room. You
reason
kind of
that you
lose your
don't-
appetite
if you
for
don't
them.
lose your appetite. I think after you've worked out hard, you're like, I'm not blowing this just behind that.
But I'm
That's
saying
how- that's my
I don't
decision.
always have a
But
taste
you do well
for it
though.
anymore.
See, you're doing a lot better food wise than a lot of people are doing.
That's
Oh,
as
okay,
well.
maybe
Flush
that's
your-
what
yeah,
it
you
is.
can
'Cause we're
flush
talking
yourself
about-
from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
See,
you-
someone like me, that's my thing about it. Oh, I did great. I did a hard hour on that trail, so I'm gonna go eat me a slice.
Yes, but you reward
Yeah,
yourself.
I reward
Right.
myself.
And, it's-
Yeah.
and trust me, whatever it is that you've eaten, your exercise is not tantamount to what it needs to be to
To circumvent
to circumvent
the dangers
eating that,
of
yes.
that.
And this is just if we're talking about the world of maintenance. 2 Little Caesar slices, that's it. Just in the world of maintenance. Ride your bike for 65 minutes,
Ooh.
just maintenance. So if we're in the place where you're trying to actually lose, then you're not going to get there in the way that you're thinking that you're going to get there, because all you're doing is maintaining at this point.
Right.
The
But if
same
I get thin crust, then I'm good, right?
Yeah, thin crust, thin body. I'm sure it will work out.
That's how it works, right? Sounds good.
Like, where's the feeling? And Oreos, I just had to say this because I used to eat my weight in Oreos. Just 4 double stuffed Oreos, 280 calories.
Wow.
You'd have to lift weights for an hour, almost an hour and a half, to burn that
Yeah,
off.
see, it's not worth it when you look at it in terms of what is it going to cost me.
Now I'm hungry.
I know. What is it
Glad I
going
can
to
help.
cost me?
Glad I can help. The other thing that we've got to also remember when we're making these resolutions is when people say sleep and a healthy weight are not related. They are absolutely related.
Yes, they
I'm a
are.
witness.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
witness.
yeah.
And their excuse is, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Okay, well, you're going to die from lack of
Because
sleep
you're not
Yeah.
sleeping, right?
because your body needs that time to heal
To
itself.
restore.
A rapper said that I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. And
Yeah.
it's like, no. We don't, one of the things I read is nowadays we're getting into a place where people are looking at those who can sleep and
see
sleep
what
as being a sign of wealth. Because if you have time to get the recommended amount of sleep, then certainly you must be wealthy enough where people are taking care of things for you
and you don't have to worry.
and you don't have to worry. So that's what they're
I don't know
doing
if that's a
now.
good analogy or not.
I know, I
That's
know.
not correct.
I know,
Exactly.
because most people I know, that's not the case.
No.
But now that's another situation where they're taking it and they're skewing it to fit
Whatever
society
they-
and what
and to spend money.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And instead of looking at it in ways of sleep is very necessary, very very necessary. And when you do not sleep well, you tend to reach for sugary foods, heavy carb foods, excessive caffeine. Your metabolism gets out of whack because your body once again hasn't had a chance to rest and reset. And there are a couple of hormones that and I'm probably going to chop this up. I should have looked to the word Smith. I think it's called ghrelin
Yes.
and it's your go eat
That's your
hormone.
hunger. Your hunger.
Well, it doesn't know to turn off if you're sleep deprived, because it's awake, and it's like surely you must need to eat.
You gain weight when you're not sleeping well.
Right.
It undoes everything else you do.
Yeah, it's awful.
And then your leptin is your stop eating hormone. Well, that gets a chance to do what it's supposed to do when
Stop
you're sleeping
eating.
well.
Right.
So you don't end up sleeping too crazy. And last but not least is I don't like water. Water makes me
I
bloated.
know.
I get water in my coffee.
Well, you gotta
no.
drink enough of it. They say, I've heard people and seen people who've lost weight, and their main thing is drink more water.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
Yeah,
does.
water is an
It
acquired
flushes.
taste for me. It has to have lemon or something. It has to have
And that's not a
something.
bad thing. That's not a
Yeah,
bad
always-
thing.
always-
Well, that's a natural
Squeeze lemon
diuretic with
Yeah,
the lemon in
yeah,
it, so that's
absolutely.
okay. I had to train myself to drink it. Now I love it, but it was a
We gotta drink
process.
the right water. Alkaline water is absolutely the
Yeah,
And that
Yes,
water,
that
you
water
got.
is delicious.
that
and we
9.5
did a
alkaline
show
water.
on
We
that,
did a
didn't
show
we?
on that. We'll
Yes.
have to do a repeat on that
Yeah.
for 2018.
That makes all the difference.
But that changed my life. That show.
And it helps things flow.
It does.
Because that's what people forget is
Right.
if you're not drinking enough water,
Those-
you can't lose the pipe.
Well, the thing is, those restroom trips become more quality.
Yes. I like that.
They become quality.
More quality.
They become quality restroom trips.
For those who didn't see that live, you should have seen her face. That was great.
But just
Quality restroom trips.
so just remember as you're getting ready to make your resolutions for the new year, be realistic, make realistic expectations, and take your time to get the information that you need so that you can succeed in the new year. So everybody can get healthy.
Because
You can get
2018 is supposed to be from new beginnings. So
It really
let
is.
everybody
Well,
get
I'm
started.
gonna start a new
with
trend then. It's gonna be the all avocado day. They did the all
I told you
grapefruit
that.
diet.
You're the guy.
I'm gonna
I'm
do the
You're
all
gonna be
avocado
happy.
diet.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
think
gonna
I'd
go
be mad
with.
about that at all. I think
We'll see what I look like for January
For Valentine's
when we
Day.
return.
we're gonna bring a bowl and
Well, we can bring gratitude into 2018.
Always.
Because gratitude is a gift. The gifts of gratitude. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into charity. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So I believe that is something all of us can bring into
Absolutely.
2018, and that's brought to us by Melody E.
Thank you for that.
Don't forget also we still have the Stone Soup food pantry downstairs in our building here at 6260 West Park. Oh no.
That's the last week.
Oh, this is the last week. Okay, well, for those of you, if you still have someone in need or if you know any families in need, this is the last week for the food pantry that is open Monday through Friday here at 6260 West Park Drive. Thank you everyone who has tuned in on the social media, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you for all your support, and we will be back next year.
Absolutely.
And we will be back next year. So,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
New Year, stay
Year.
blessed,
Be blessed.
and we'll see y'all in 2018.
And butter someone up. Isn't that
Butter
something?
Butter them up.
Listen, yeah, that's
These
really
are
God's
people that need
favorite.
to
It's
You
not
guys
butter
butter me
somebody
up. Can you guys do that? I would like it if my team buttered me up.
Thank you to all of our sponsors and listeners. Check out our website at www.allaboutyouShow.com. That's all about you, the letter U, show.com. Join our live feed on our Facebook page, OMG and
I don't
Friends,
know how y'all want
and
to do
follow
this.
us on Twitter at All About You Show.
All I had was
Remember,
the host
at
of the
All About You,
Show.
we
I'm
talk about the
OMG,
things
so
you
this is
Oh, no,
enjoy.
we gotta do
and wellness water.
put that back. 'Cause I
Wishing you and
forgot.
your family.
We gotta do something else.
Okay.
Oh,
I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I don't know what y'all want to say.
Okay. What did you say now?
All I basically had was the host of the All About You Show, and then I say who I am, and then we all go. Wishes you and your family Merry Christmas and all say that together. I don't know. I'm just trying to. We gotta have something, and I want to still get everybody's name.
Do we want to say Merry Christmas or do we want to
Well,
just say
I don't
Happy
do-
New Year?
you know,
Right. Right. I don't.
I mean, but it doesn't preclude me from wishing other people.
Right. We can wish
I
you
don't know.
others, I
Yeah.
guess. All right.
So it's
Yeah.
Right, still water on the sofa. I'm sorry.
26 seconds.
Okay, so
Oh.
we gotta do 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Wishes you and your family Merry. So what are we saying? Okay.
Okay.
Well, 26
You're
seconds.
gonna say this is OMG and all
The
about
host,
you
yeah.
show. The
That's
host
what
of.
I have. The host of the All About You show. I'm OMG.
Susan, that
So-
you're Sawyer.
And we do all that.
Right.
And then I guess we all say wishing you, your family Merry Christmas, something like that.
Yeah, wishing you, right. Wishing you-
A happy New Year.
Huh?
I want to have you.
And Happy New Year. So
Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a happy and
okay, the
happy
whole
and
show they all
prosperous
about
New
you
Year.
show. Yeah, however you want to say it. But we gotta say that together.
Okay, wishing you, I'm writing this down,
Okay.
a Merry Christmas